The concept of power and not the same. Power is the ability to exercise influence and control over others, and this can be observed on every level of society, from the relationship within a family to the relationship among nations. Power is usually structured by customs and social institutions or laws, tend to be exalted by persuasive arguments or coercion, or even brute force. In general, groups with the greatest resources tend to have the advantage in power struggles. So, is power always legitimate? Is it viewed by members of a certain justified? Well, no. Power can be raised by individual groups when the empowers resistance to others. If as long as the solution to oppose the will. But what about the power that is accepted by members of society as right and just as it is legitimate powers? Now we are talking about authority, and that's what I want to focus on today. Okay, when individuals or institutions possess authority, they have um, a recognized and established right to determine policies with the acceptance of those over whom they exercise control. Max Weber, the German classical sociologist, proposed three types of authority in society: traditional, charismatic, and rational or legal authority. In all three types, he he acknowledged the rights of those in position of power to lead with the consent of the government. So, how did the Weber differentiate among the three types of authority? Well, he divided them according to how the right to lead and the duty to follow are interpreted. In traditional authority, power resides in customs and conventions that provide certain people or a group with legitimate power in their society, often their origin is found in sacred traditions. The example that most often comes to mind is a monarchy in which kings or queens rule by birthright, not because any particular quality of leadership or political election, just because they have a claim to authority based on traditional acceptance of their position, and in some cases their unique relationship with and responsibility in religious practice. The royal families in Europe or the emperors of Asia come to mind as example of traditional authority. Okay, this contrasts sharply with the charismatic authority, which is derived because of personal attributes that inspire admiration, loyalty, and even devotion. Leaders who exercise this type of authority may be the founders of religious movements or political parties, but it is not their traditional right to lead. What's important here is that their followers are mobilized more by the force of the leadership's personality than by the tradition or the law. So when we think of charismatic leaders in the United States, perhaps John Kennedy would be an example because he was able to project a youthful and energetic people proud to identify with. Or if you prefer Republicans, you may argue that Ronald Reagan was able to exercise authority by virtue of his charismatic appeal. In any case, going back to Weber, to qualify for a charismatic authority, a leader must be able to enlist others in the service of a cause that transforms the social structures in some way. which leaves us with legal national authority or power that is legitimized by rules, laws, and procedures. In such a system, leaders gain authority not by tradition and birthright, or by charismatic appeal, but rather because they are elected or appointed in accordance with the law. And the power is dedicated to layers of officials for all their religions and principles that are agreed upon rationally, and because they accept the idea that the law is supreme. In a legal, rational society, people accept the legitimacy of authority as a government of laws, not of leaders. So an example of this type of authority might be a president like Richard Nixon, who was threatened with an impeachment because he was perceived as not governing with the law. Some sociologists have postulated that three types of authority represent stages of revolution in society. That pre-industrial societies tend to respect traditional authority, but as societies move into the industrial age, the importance of tradition wanes in favor of charismatic authority, with a natural rise of charismatic leader. Then, as the modern era evolves, the rational legal authority embodied by laws and regulations replaces the loyalty to leaders in favor of respect for the law. Of course, the practice authority may be represented by a combination of several of these ideal types of any one time.